Hi, we're Matt's on Fire. If you're new to our channel, we talk about saving, investing, and achieving financial freedom. Today, we'll share the story of how we achieved financial independence by age 35. And if you like great stories as much as we do, remember to scorch that like button and subscribe to our channel. The first Matt came from a small town in the Philippines, which is a third world country. It was tough growing up because his dad died when he was in high school, so it was up to his mom to raise him and his siblings. Scholarships definitely helped get through college and medical school. When he arrived in the US to do his residency training in 2010, he literally had nothing. He asked for an advanced paycheck from his employer so he could pay rent for his apartment, which he shared with a roommate. He bought a used 2007 Toyota Corolla for $5,000, then drove it for about 10 years as a resident and as an attending. He felt very lucky to have an uncle who was his financial mentor. His uncle encouraged him to contribute the yearly allowable maximum to retirement accounts and reminded Matt early on to not keep up with the Joneses. This was probably the most valuable lesson Matt learned from his uncle, to not care what other people think about him. Matt used a budgeting app called Mint to track all his expenses. By the end of his residency training, he had already saved and invested $60,000. The other Matt, that's me, his grandparents and parents both talked about the value of money and how earning it and saving it was incredibly important. I remember opening up an account at Old Kent Bank when I got my first job delivering advanced newspapers, and my parents set an expectation even then that a percent of each check would stay in my savings account. From that point, there was also an expectation that I'd continue to work and take care of more and more of my own expenses. Early on, that led me to appreciate what freedom's money enables and the discipline it'd take to build up savings. We met in 2012 and got married in 2014. We decided to combine our finances and agree to follow a budget. It didn't go well initially, but eventually we got on the same page financially speaking. We moved into a 2-bedroom apartment and decided to sell Matt's condominium to invest the home equity instead. At first we were clueless on how to invest our money. We didn't know what an index fund was or that we had to pay attention to fees, so we interviewed a few financial advisors thinking they could manage our money for us. Looking back, our first meeting with a financial advisor was a bundle of mistakes. We told him that all we care about is working and we'll give him all our money and count on him to do all the investing. It was a good thing that didn't push through. We decided to use a robo-advisor instead. The other Matt discovered personal capital in 2014, which was a hybrid between a robo-advisor and a financial advisor. At that time, robo-advisors were still relatively new, and they charged us 0.89% annual assets under management, and we had access to a financial advisor anytime we wanted. They managed our rollover IRA and our taxable brokerage account. In 2015, while cleaning our apartment and gathering medical magazines to throw in the trash, one caught Matt's eye. On the winter 2015 issue of Practice Link, the front page read, "Forget the Joneses, give yourself the gift of financial and professional freedom." It was a light bulb moment after reading the article. Matt saw that it was written by James M. Daly, MD, who wrote The White Coat Investor, a doctor's guide to personal finance and investing. This led him down a rabbit hole of discovering the White Coat Investor blog, devouring the related book, which then led us to discover the Boglehead philosophy of investing. That ultimately gave us the confidence to fire our personal capital financial advisor and start do-it-yourself investing using index funds. We might talk about that process in a separate video because it was an intense moment. In 2016, we stumbled upon the blogger Physician on Fire, who introduced us to the concept of financial independence, retire early. From him, we found out about the 4% safe withdrawal rate, which means that as long as you live off 4% from your nest egg, your investments will likely earn more than you withdraw. It's a method to achieve ultimate freedom because you'll never have to work for money again. We were and still are saving pretty aggressively, 90% of our after-tax income. Because of that, by 2017, we were already financially independent. Every year, we max out all of our tax-advantaged accounts, and whatever is left goes into our taxable brokerage account. So what's next for us? We have self-imposed non-financial milestones that we both decided to fulfill before we stop working. The most likely scenario is that in a couple of years, the first Matt will stop working to plan the next steps, That means Roth conversions, health insurance, slow travel, etc. And the other Matt will follow suit. Currently, we're working on our passion projects. I'm working with a few friends to build a tabletop gaming app for Dungeons & Dragons, and together we're having fun building our YouTube channel. We're still not sure how either of these two side gigs will pan out, but the fun part is they're optional anyway since we're already FI. And that's the story of how we gained financial independence by 35 and are planning to FIRE by age 40. See you next week on Matt's on Fire.